CO2 that was emitted into the air.
Yeah.
This is the graph.
Yes. CO2 emissions.
So what's going to happen, you think,
Well, this is
in the future?
well, I mean, it's about climate change and global warming, right? So. So what do you mean? I mean that if we keep emitting CO2 into the atmosphere, then the atmosphere is going to get warmer and warmer, and all the effects of.
But how can we limit the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere? What are we supposed to do?
Use renewable energy, non-carbon-based fuels like wind and solar that don't produce CO2.
See, my problem with that, I'm kind of common sense guy.
Yeah.
Is all the alternative? I'm not against alternative, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm for all of the above, sources, whatever we can get energy from. But the problem is that the alternatives are less than 1% of the energy today, as of now. Maybe in the future.
In Germany, sometimes that economy is like the third biggest in the world after the U.S. and China. Sometimes it's running 100%.
Actually, it's the fourth largest after Japan.
Productive economy, Japan. Maybe
Yes,
it used to be,
Japan is 3, Germany is 4.
Well, at any rate.
But anyway, right,
Okay,
it's a
Germany,
developed country, very much so.
Right, and it runs some days completely 100% on renewable energy. Depending
Germany?
on the weather. Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, probably the best renewable energy, in a way, would be nuclear energy.
Well, there's a lot of problems with the waste with nuclear energy, and it's really not necessary to use that energy instead of renewables.
But how, do you propose to solve this problem today, like this year or next year or 5 years from now?
The idea is that if you go above 350 parts of carbon in the atmosphere, that the feedback loops will be such that it's not just a few degrees warmer that will happen. Will melt the ice sheets, and it'll not be global warm. It'll continue. It'll get hotter and hotter, and it's really like a really catastrophic scenario. So yeah, the idea is that you wean yourself off of fossil fuels as you increase the number of the sources of other clean energy.
I'm not against renewable sources, but
there's more information about
sure.
it they're giving out.
But from what I read, just the other day actually, I learned that the polar ice sheet in the Arctic Ocean, which was supposed to kind of melt by now, actually the amount of ice this year versus last year has increased by as much as 60%. Not 1, not 2, 60%.
Where'd you read that?
You can Google it, you'll see for yourself. How can you explain that then?
I can't. It doesn't seem.
But that's the fact. It's very easy to see from space. You just take a picture 2012, 2013.
Well, maybe 2012 was particularly bad, but all these.
But it has increased. It's irrelevant. It has increased. According to this projection, it's not supposed to happen, right? Again, I'm just using the data, available data.
Yeah. Well, all of the best climate scientists say that we shouldn't go above 350 parts of carbon in the atmosphere, and so we're already, I think, close to it, or maybe beyond it.
Beyond it, yes.
So that what we need.
It's about
to do,
400, yes. But
so what we need to do is really. Things like the tar sand. This protest is around the tar sands, which are very dirty. It's a very inefficient source of fossil fuel. So it's about saying no to that, and spending. Like the solar energy was around since the 70s. There were the Hubert's peak oil. Scientists realized that they could use the sun to generate electricity.
Oh, I'd love to do that, but unfortunately, there was an experiment that was done very recently.
Instead of subsidizing fossil fuels like our government does, we should be subsidizing clean energy to move it faster than it being 1%. But like I said, often it's 30% in Germany, but some days, depending on the weather, it's actually 100%. And they work together with businessmen business people who were heavily invested in renewable energy.
But do you know how much nuclear energy is used for the production of electricity in France?
No, I don't.
Well, how much do you think? I mean,
half?
you're familiar with,
Half
with
as
numbers.
much, half.
75%. Sweden, you know how much? 45%.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is then what do you do with the waste? So
Well,
that's,
they've been managing waste. I mean, we have Yucca Mountain, for example.
I know.
But let me ask, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but let me ask you another kind of funny thing. From the data that I read, I know that there are different sources. But one of the sources says, and it's kind of indisputable, that even though, which is correct, the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere has increased by about 30%, yet the temperature has been remarkably stable for the past 15 years.
Yeah, but I mean,
How can
climate it's about climate change, not just global warming, but I mean, like and I think there's feedback loops, like if the ice sheets melt, then like the methane gas underneath those ice sheets would add to global warming. Think about, like look at Fukuyama there, like, the thing about...
but how many people died over there, and how much contamination was there?
It's like we're splitting an atom to boil water. It's just like kind of crazy.
It's not crazy at all.
I believe it is.
Well, I mean, the only disaster that we had, and I came from Russia, was in Chernobyl.
Yeah,
and the reason the reason it happened specifically in Chernobyl is because of the type of reactor that they were using. That there was no protective dome.
I mean, like,
all modern reactors, nuclear reactors, are using this protective dome.
I know, but why?
And it's the cheapest. You know why?
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. The only reason that it's done at all is because the government funds it. I mean, it wouldn't be if they put like a tenth of the money towards renewables that they put towards fossil fuels, or no company would do it if the U.S. government didn't back and ensure the production of.
But you're concerned. Let's get to the basics. You're concerned about the global warming, right? Now, when it comes to global warming and it comes to nuclear reactors, guess how much CO2 is emitted into the atmosphere?
Yeah, well...
Zero.
Yeah, well...
Zero. Nothing.
I mean, there certainly is in the production of those power plants, yeah.
So, I mean, shouldn't you be for nuclear power thing?
No, I'm much happier with renewable energy that is...
Me too. But it's just too expensive and it's not viable. That's today. Again, maybe 100 years from now it will.
Yeah, I guess other people have tried to convince you already. I'm probably not the most informed person to talk to anyway. So. Good.
But you're protesting. I thought that you were equipped with numbers and stuff like that, with logic, just common sense.
Yeah.
You know how much coal we use in production of electricity today in this country? 40%.
Yeah.
40%.
Yeah.
So if you cut all the coal, I mean, the buses, the trains, electricity, I mean, we'll have no electricity. We'll have to ration it, like in North Korea.
Yeah, I don't think that coal is the answer. I just think that where our priorities are such that instead of supporting the production of renewable, clean energy, we're still subsidizing dirty and dangerous energy.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's just the market. Market determines the price in a way. Actually, with oil, it's a little different. It's more complicated. It's the Middle East, the OPEC cartel that sets the prices.
The market is embedded in society, as the economy is also embedded in society. The power relationships between the government and the market are such that we subsidize oil, like for instance, our military presence in the Middle East is part of the cost. It's part of the cost of oil. So I mean, I really.
But what happened in 1974? Remember 1974?
Why we didn't support
or was it later?
Fuels.
No, not 74. It was 70. I mean, before in Carter years when OPEC decided not to export oil to us. There were the huge lines for gas.
Yeah, that was because of price controls more than...
Yeah, but OPEC set the prices, A, and B, they just refused to ship oil to us. Canada is our friend. So if we were to get oil from Canada, it will never happen. Yeah. And how much...
I don't know, geopolitically, I don't think that, Canada's maybe our friend, but this isn't a friendly thing to do. I don't think it's a good idea my understanding is that if we burn the tar sands oil, we would push the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere way above what the climate scientists say is safe. So that's why I protest.
I see. Okay. All right.
Thank you.